whole bunch of exercises that help open up our hips, get better movement, and finally, we put that to work doing the side split. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I am tweaking a camera angle because I have a second device that is not lining up nearly as well, and I will be done with that in just a second. I'll have to do. Okay, my name is Ken. We do lots of stretchy stuff. I hope you have fun. We try to bring good vibes to make hard things a little bit easier to do, and hopefully make a bunch of progress towards our side splits, towards hip mobility, towards moving better together. Hope you have fun. Let's get started. We're starting with hip cars. Hip cars are all about moving through your full range of motion with your own muscle power. All right. So hip cars is controlled articulated rotation with a little s, and it looks a little bit like this. We're trying to bring our knee up as high as possible. We're going to lift and bring that hip open, point the knee far out to the side, as wide open as you can. Rotate that leg so that the ankle and the knee are as high as possible. Really contract those muscles here in your hip. Bring that down and back. I don't know why I turned back around until you're in this position. Your knee is behind the standing knee. Hamstring is flexed. Your glutes are flexed. You're feeling a little bit of a stretch in the front of your hip flexor, these muscles in the front of your leg. That is 1 rep. We're going to do 10 more of these on the left side. We're going to do 10 on the right side. Don't worry, I'm going to keep on demonstrating every time we start a new leg. Cool. Let's go. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. 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 I think that's 5. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. I think that's 7. If that was 5. This makes 8. 9. And 10. Whew. Shake out that leg. If you're struggling a little bit with balance, I recommend you do go grab a chair, grab something that is, reachable so that you don't have to bend down, so that it's easier to focus on the exercise. All right, let's continue. I'm gonna get rid of this chair again and do the other side. So if you're just joining in, we're doing hip cars. Hip cars look like this. They are all about moving and forcing your limbs, in this case your hip, through its fullest range of motion that you can get using your own muscles. And we'll talk it through. High knee, right in the front. I'm gonna open up that hip, point the knee directly to the side, rotate the leg so the ankle and the knee are as high as possible. Flex these muscles right here in the side of the hip. Lift, 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 lift. Bring the leg down and back so that this bent knee is behind the standing leg knee. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes. Feel that stretch in the front of the hip flexor, and that is 1 rep. Let's do 10 more. High knee. Open. Ooh, I'm off balance. Super off balance. Oh, that's what I get for trying to go fast. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. High knee. Open. Ankle. Down and back. I think it's 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Last 1. 10. If at any point you feel like I'm going a little bit too fast, you can let me know in the chat. But you also don't have to worry. I talk a lot. You got plenty of time to catch up. Let's continue with the reverse. It's the same movements, but we're going in reverse. And typically, if you're just learning this, your brain's going to go haywire going, what is going on? So let's talk it through real quick, and then you can mirror me. All right, we're going to start by bringing the leg down and back. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes. Lift the leg directly to the side, like we're a cool martial artist going, whoop-ah! From here, we're rotating the leg so that the knee is up, the heel, the toes are down, and then finally bring the leg directly in front of you. Let's go. 10, left side. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I started counting before I actually had finished it, so that is 10 finished. Whew. All right. Take a break if you need to. Pop some mini squats. Those are always good. Let's shake out the limbs if they're tired. Take some nice big fresh breaths of air if you're out of breath like me. And let's go. Last round. Once again, back, side, ankle, knee. Got it? Back, side, ankle, knee. Back, side, ankle, knee. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I don't remember how I started that count, so I'm gonna do maybe 11, maybe finish 10 for good measure. Oh, okay. We're done with the first warm-up exercise. I'm gonna come over, check the chat, say hi to people who have come in. Queen RR on YouTube says, hello, how are you feeling? Still a bit sick. Last night was a bit brutal. Very, very sweaty. And overall, I'm doing okay. I had a sore throat for like 2 days that didn't impact the rest of me. For the last 2 days, I've had like fever, not really a fever, but like I've had chills. So I guess by default, there must have been a fever. And now I think the sore throat is starting to come back a little bit. And hopefully that means the fever part is going away and not just double dutying on me. Okay. Let's see. On TikTok, Sheena's back. Welcome back, Sheena. It says Sheena has shared the live with more than 5 friends. Lovely. Thank you for sending all of your friends to me. Travel Directly says hello. Sheena's working really hard to support the live. I appreciate it very much. Lulu, welcome back. Diana says it's a little too fast. Okay. I'll try to slow it down just a little bit. And Norma says, thank you for showing correct position of the body. This is what really works. Yes, I'm glad. I hope you get a lot of benefit out of it. I do try my best to do a lot of demonstration to get everybody on the same page so that anybody who comes in doesn't feel super lost. And that does come at a price. That price is it takes a bit longer to get through everything. But if you're relatively new, probably the first couple of times that I say something is going to be helpful because it's going to be like, oh, wait, I focused on this thing and I got this other thing that I can focus on. So hopefully over the course of several lives, you slowly become your own expert. Cool. All right, we just finished tip cars. That is the first warm-up exercise. I hope you haven't cooled down too much listening to me chat. Let's get into warm-up exercise number 2. It is called the elephant walk. The goal of this is to warm up our hamstrings. I don't expect you to come in with any warmth whatsoever. So come on down. We're getting into this L shape. You should start feeling the stretch in your hamstrings. It doesn't have to be intense, not yet. And I want you to just hang out. Do a little wiggle from side to side, bend one knee, straighten the other. Feel the hamstrings slowly tightening, slowly releasing, slowly tightening, slowly releasing. The key to all this is actually bringing your belly button down as low as you can. If you are stuck a little bit higher up, as long as your hamstrings are tight and they're feeling contracted during this process, you're fine. It doesn't matter. All right, keep bending those knees, lean from side to side, bring the belly button down to the ground, and keep moving. You can get progressively more uncomfortable with these now that we've spent a couple seconds in this stretch. And once you've done a couple of these, Your hamstrings are feeling a lot better. Your belly button is lower to the ground. I want you to really focus. Really focus. Pause for a second. Focus on bringing your belly button as low as you can. And then slightly bend the knee a little bit at a time. So we're still bending, but the focus is bringing the belly button down. Does that feel any different than where you were before or what you were doing before? If it does, add this into the rotation of feelings, and we're going to move on and do some twists. Okay, from that same general position, we're bringing the belly button down, one knee is bent. In this case, the left knee is bent, the right leg is straight. They're pretty close together, about hips width apart. I want you to twist your back a little bit. Take your left hand, grab your right leg, open up that chest, and I want you to take that right hand, point it slightly behind you. Ooh, I'm definitely way more warmed up than yesterday. I can actually reach backwards. And then come back down. Do the same thing on the other side. So my left leg is straight, my right leg is bent. Taking my right hand, grabbing my left leg, helping to push open my chest that is rotating to the left, taking my left hand, pointing up in the sky, somewhere behind me. Look at that hand. So your neck is also rotating. And then come back down. Whew. Let's keep going. Let's do a couple of these. And once you've really gotten in the groove of these, remember, we're still working on those hamstrings. So bring the belly button down as much as you can while doing these. I think Sheeta mentioned that this is also a corresponding yoga position. Maybe yesterday, maybe the day before. All my days are blending together. But I don't know if there's a but. I think maybe that was just the end of that sentence. Just ignore that I said but. You can focus and emphasize on any part of the exercise as long as you're also getting a nice hamstring warm up. We care a lot about the hamstrings because we put them through a lot through the rest of the workout. Okay, let's get into the Cossack switches. We just finished round 2 of warm up. Let's go for round 3. Cossack switches look a little bit like this. We're gonna open up our legs approximately 2, 3, 3.5 times hips width. It's not that accurate. This doesn't have to be perfect because you can always adjust. We're going to try to drop down to one side in a way that our knees are traveling in the same directions as our toes are pointing. So I'm going to point my knees and my toes towards you so you can see that it's doing that. If you want to try, you can imagine doing a lunge like so, and then rotating your leg a little bit so that your hip comes backwards. That's basically the same thing. Try it, see if that helps, if you've been struggling with this. If you haven't been struggling, then keep doing what you were doing. All right, from here, we're feeling this ankle pressure in the front. We're feeling the Achilles tendon. We're feeling the calf stretch a little bit here in the back. We're feeling the pressure in the hip joint. If it gets a little bit too much, you can always put your elbow over your knee. Give yourself a nice place to kind of relax a little bit. That way, your quads aren't firing so hard trying to keep you up. And we're going to hang out here for a little bit. I want you to try to bring your knees forward over your toes so you can get into a deeper stretch. If it is uncomfortable for your knees, you can always come up and have a little bit more of a chill angle. Cool? Once we have hung out here for a little bit, we're going to move over to the other side. But before we do that, let's talk about this other leg. Here, my heel is down, my toes are up, and my knees are up. I want you to get used to this position because we use it in the side splits a little bit later. And this is called leg external rotation because we're rotating it away from the center of the body. Okay, we've hung out on this side. Let's get our butts over to the other side. You can take your hands, help support you as you try to bring and scoot to the other side. I am shifting my position a lot because I have to line up for cameras. You don't have to shift. You can, depending on the size of your room or floor that you're working on, maybe you have to shift. But I'm sliding around, and it's because I'm trying to line up for the cameras. Okay, here on this side, we're doing the same thing. Knees over toes, push that knee forward a little bit, Feel the pressure in your front of the ankle. Feel that stretch in the Achilles in the back of your leg. Feel the pressure building in that hip. If your knee is uncomfortable, you can always come back a little bit. You don't have to go as deep, but I'll keep you a little bit higher up. Same thing with the other leg. Heel is up, or sorry, heel is down, toes are up, knees are up. Try your best to sit into this position. Experiment if you need to with the angle of your foot. It's possible to point your toes really far forward, like you're doing a regular squat with this leg, and hang out here. It's possible to do something closer to 45 degrees. It's even possible to really open up that hip and get somewhere closer to, I don't know, 75, 80 degrees. Experiment with what is good for you, and we're going to move on to doing more switches. So the goal of the switch is to move back and forth from side to side. We got lots of different ways of doing this. One, you can stick with what we did originally. Put your hands down, give yourself a little bit of support. Come over to the other side, come back over, come back over. If these are a little bit hard on your knees in the end position, you can try to sort of come up in a half squat, a quarter squat, come over to the other side, and then drop down. You come into a full squat. Take a nice little break in between, and then fully drop down. We do want to spend time in this position because this strengthens your muscles in that extreme range of motion. The same reason why we're doing the hip curls. But how you get from side to side, I don't mind nearly as much. I do want you to try to get lower to the ground. But if you can't get there, not yet, that's totally fine. Adjust, tweak, and once you've got 5 to 10 of these, which I am certain I have done, then we are done with our warm-up. I'm tired. That was a warm-up? Yes, that was the warm-up. Let's get ready to do some stretches. You need to grab a cushion, a pillow, something to pad your knee, because the first stretch we're doing is a hamstring stretch. I have lost my regular cushion, so I'm gonna go borrow another one. All right, I got a little seat cushion from an IKEA chair. I'm pretty sure this is an IKEA cushion as well, and this will be my friend today. You don't have to get anything crazy. Doesn't have to be specialized. Doesn't have to be yoga mats. Just a little bit of something to give your knee a little bit of protection. While you go grab those things, go check the chat. Whole bunch of people are following live. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. Genesis says we'll definitely join at 3 p.m. and at 9 p.m. I'm not going to be doing the 3 p.m. for a while because I'm traveling, but the 9 p.m. is on. It's consistent and it will be happening. James Rollison says, I have lower back pain. Does your stretching help? It helps in the sense that lower back pain is usually tied to a significant number of muscles throughout your back. And if everything is strong and everything is flexible, then it can help relieve some of your low back pain symptoms. But low back pain is pretty complex, so I can't make any promises. We don't really do that much focus on the low back directly. And we actually do a lot of hamstring work, which will actively force you to get into probably uncomfortable positions for your low back. And you can make small changes, including focusing not on bringing your belly button down as much as possible, but focusing on getting into the deepest range of motion you can without pain or just a tiny little bit of discomfort so that you can push your body to do the limits of what it is comfortable with. And slowly over time, that limit of what you're comfortable with should change and adapt. That's about all I know. There is an account called Low Back Ability, and I think it's just at Low Back Ability on YouTube, on Instagram, on all the platforms. He does a really good job, so I recommend you go check him out. His whole model is you got to spend time slowly investing and taking care of your back and strengthening up the small, tiny muscles within it so that you can move better over time. And it's definitely one of those things where you put in a lot of investment into your low back so that you can move well over the course of a lot of light training. Alex says, hope you're feeling better today, bro. Thank you. I am feeling better-ish. Sheena says, follow, follow, follow. Yes, please. We are doing, what can I do for bone-on-bone knees? So painful. That is a really good question. And honestly, I do not have the expertise to tell you what you can do for bone-on-bone knees. But I have heard that there are people out there who experience pain in very different ways than, actually, how do I say this? I have heard and I've seen studies that state that people experience pain in lots of different ways to lots of different extents. So something that would be very painful for me might not be painful at all for somebody else. And it's not just pain tolerance, like we're experiencing the same pain and they just like can handle it. It's that their body doesn't even send signals that the pain is happening. So there are plenty of people who have really messed up backs where like lots of bulges and stuff, but they don't know that they have bulges. And there are lots of people who have fewer bulges than example person I just gave with this weird arm gesture for the spine, and they will be incredibly hurt, complaining, and really unhappy with themselves because of something way less. I don't want to say way less terrible to make, second person's problems sound insignificant, but like severity of the problem in terms of pure anatomy looks less terrible, but their pain feels way worse. So I don't really know. There is another guy called Knees Over Toes Guy on YouTube, on Instagram, I believe, and his whole thing is he got a knee replacement. So I'm pretty sure he's like titanium on bone, rubbing around on his knees, and he's doing crazy stuff on the internet. His whole thing is also get into extreme ranges of motion and get much, much, much stronger. So that's all I got. I appreciate you for being here, and I think if you get stronger over time, you'll also move a bit better and feel a little bit better about your knees. But I really don't have enough experience to coach you or tell you anything else. Go check out Knees Over Toes Guy on the internet, and it seems like a bunch of people are really happy trying his workouts. Okay, long answers about back pain and knee pain. Let's continue. What do we do? We're doing stretches. We just started. Okay, we're getting to the hamstring stretch. So for the hamstring stretch, I want you to focus on trying to keep your hips and your chest pointed right in front of you. I don't want your hips to shift. I don't want you to rotate. I want you to focus going forward. Stick that leg directly forward as well, and focus on bringing your belly button down to the thigh. Okay, from here, your hamstrings are going to tighten up. They're going to tighten up so bad, you're going to be really unhappy. What we're going to try to do from here is take a nice big deep breath in, and as we release the air slowly, we want to see if we can push that belly button slightly closer towards the thigh. If your knee is a little bit uncomfortable in this straight leg position, you can bend the knee slightly, focus on bringing your belly button and chest down to that leg so that these are all touching, and then try to lean back a little bit to straighten out the leg. It's the same hamstring stretch. It'll still feel intense, but it's from a slightly different approach. Cool. All right. Let's go. Get into that stretch position. Hamstrings tightening up. Take a nice big deep breath in. Release and get more deep. Exhale, 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 exhale. Okay, let's try another. Inhale. Exhale and go deeper. Oh. Don't hold your breath. You'll be tempted, but don't hold your breath. Okay, once you are as deep as you can go, we're going to hold this stretch for 30 seconds. You can try to keep your back a little bit straighter. It's not super important, but just don't turn into a ball. All right, let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whew. Okay, that's one leg. Let's switch over, do the other side. I think from here, I see that Sheena might be commenting. I will be back to the camera soon. Let's keep going. Again, point everything straight forward, stick that leg directly out in front of you, fold forward, focus on bringing the belly button down, start feeling that intense hamstring stretch, and let's breathe. In, release, and try to get deeper. One more. In, exhale. All right. Once you're as deep as you can get, let's go for our 30-second hold. 30, 29, 28. I call it a hold, but I do want you to keep on trying to bring your belly button deeper into the stretch over the course of the 30 seconds. 25, 24, 23. Trying is not the same as actually doing it, so you don't have to do anything crazy, but I want you to keep your energy and your focus on, I want my belly button to get closer to my thighs. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ooh. For my low back pain person, if you did that hamstring stretch, you might have gotten into a situation where your hamstrings are super tight. It's pulling into the hip because that's where the hamstrings tie into, and your back might be getting all messed up because your hips are trying to shift and rotate, and your back is a little bit sensitive. If that is the case, I recommend, like I said earlier, to not go as deep and to focus on what the limits of your comfort are. That might mean you just have to focus on holding this really stable using your muscles, and that's what you're training. It might look like a hamstring stretch, but what you're really training is stabilizing the core. Cool? All right. I think I promised I would come back to the chat. Let's get rid of that cushion. We don't need it anymore. Sheena says, don't forget to breathe and take a break if needed. Sip water. Thank you, Sheena. It's a marathon, not a race. Ganasti is saying, wait, what? My stiffness is wearing off? Oh, stiffness is wearing off. Sorry, I can't read. Reading comprehension is bad. Ganasti says, same. I'm getting better. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for letting me know. That's good vibes, good vibes. Okay. We just finished our first stretch. And Ganowski, welcome. I don't think I said that. We just finished the first stretch. Let's get into our second stretch. It is called the butterfly. It looks like this. You've probably seen people doing it at the park after a run, bring their feet together, the knees are up, and they look like they're doing this. Or if they're really flexible in the hips, they might be like really far forward, folded. I'm not that flexible in the hips, and so that's why I'm going to give you the adjustments that you need. And a lot of you are probably going, what are you talking about? You do all these crazy things. How are you not flexible in your hips? My hamstrings are really tight. And I work on these really hard to try and have a little bit more flexibility. But one of my struggles is I could be a lot stronger, right? So my resting position at this moment with my legs straight in front of me, I'm turning sideways so you can't see my legs, is I still want to sit back a little bit like this. And if you look at the angle of that hip is still shooting backwards. If I straighten my back from this, you can sort of see that angle going backwards. What that means, for me at least, is I have to work really hard to bring that forward. Even though my chest is all over here, if you focus on just my low back area here, it's going basically straight up. right? It's not the same as somebody who's able to fold right at the hips and go all the way down. That's not to be discouraging. That is to tell you that certain things can look impressive, but fundamental problems can still very well exist. And it just means you go focus on the real problems and not the for show things that what am I saying about myself? Okay. Where am I going with this? So butterfly. If you have a similar situation with your hips and your back, doing the butterfly like this isn't really a forward folding stretch. You're like stretching the upper back up here where it's doing all this rounding. You're trying to bring your body into this stretch. And realistically, it's not doing that much to help you with either the groin stretch or the hamstring or the low back. It's just your upper back rounding and curling into this position. Cool? So now that we've got some context, let's make the stretch a little bit more useful. I recommend you move to a wall, something really sturdy, really not movable, and go ahead and put your hips, your shoulder, your head against the wall. Now you've got this really straight posture, which is already fantastic. You're gonna pull your feet in, and I want you to focus on bringing your knees to the ground using your muscles, which means you're gonna contract these outer thigh muscles, you're gonna contract the glutes, you're gonna see if you can bring the knees down to the ground. If you've noticed, we're trying to get into that same goal position of stretching out the groin, of bringing the knees to the ground, and I look way deeper than when we were sitting right there 2 feet away without the wall. So long story short, use the wall. I hope you understand why I recommend you use the wall now. And from here, once you've used your muscles to open up your legs, I want you to take your hands and apply a little bit of pressure just underneath the knee. And when you do that, your shoulders might come up. That's okay. You can focus on depressing your shoulders, or maybe your elbows will bend, whatever you want. But most importantly, your shoulders and your back of your head will start feeling a bunch of pressure because you're basically using that to push into the wall, and then the arms are connected to you and pushing you down. So in essence, you're just the middleman between the wall pushing your legs down into the ground, and it's fantastic because the wall doesn't move. Your legs move. All right, that's it. 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27. Keep breathing. Keep flexing those butt and outer thigh muscles. Apply steady pressure with your hands. Notice that your hips are opening up. Your groin stretch is getting more intense. Your knees are getting closer to the ground. I forgot to start counting. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Let the hands go. Oh, your legs might be feeling quite stuck right now, and that is absolutely okay. Lift your knees up a little, give them a little loving, start them moving again. And as soon as they start moving, your muscles should start relaxing and get back into a kind of functional place. When you can, come on, get up, shake out your legs a little bit, and we're going to move on into the next stretch, the standing pancake. I'm going to check the chat real quick. I don't think there's anything to address, so let's continue. Cool. Standing pancake is all about folding and bring your head in between your legs. It looks from the side just like a hamstring stretch, but our legs are going to be as wide open as we can be comfortably. It doesn't have to be super crazy, but I want you to open up your hips as you get more comfortable going down. So, open up those legs, fold forward, grab your legs if you want, help pull yourself down deeper into a stretch position. Try your best to keep your low mid back straight so that you can actually see your progress. It might help to lift your head up to help keep that upper back straight. So as an example, if I'm looking up and away, it's keeping my upper back a little bit straighter. If I tuck my head, I have a tendency to want to curl and round the back. So give that a shot if you're struggling with keeping your back straight. And let's work on the forward folding. From here, I recommend you stick your butt just a little bit back to help counterbalance so that you can stick your arms forward. And once you stick your arms forward, you start really feeling the pressure. Gravity is really pulling you down into those hips. Okay, get ready, get into position. You can always make it easier, put your hands down. Don't extend your arms. 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I forgot to remind you to breathe. I hope you have continued to breathe and have not passed out, laid out on the floor. Okay, standing pancake is done. Standing pancake is a very intense stretch. It has a lot of similarities with the side split. And for a lot of the initial levels, it's so similar that you can kind of work on them interchangeably if you're not like specifically trying to use it as a fancy skill. If you're a dancer, they're very different moves. If you're a normal person and you're just trying to hit some really cool moves because they're cool and they help you move better, then you basically train them the same way. It's a 2-for-1 deal. Okay, that is a standing pancake. We used these inner thigh muscles, we used the hamstrings, and anytime you fold forward, doesn't matter if your legs are together or if they're apart, your hamstrings are going to be unhappy. Your adductors are designed to pull your legs towards the center of your body, so anytime you do the opposite, extending the legs, the inner thigh muscles are going to be unhappy. So now you know why your legs are so unhappy. But I hope you've taken this time to move, to loosen up, to shake, because we're about to get into stretch number 4, and that is easy to remember because it is the figure 4. My shorts make it really hard to see. Maybe if I stand over here. Yeah, there you go, figure 4. Because the ankle crossed over looks like the number 4. Anyways, we're bringing the ankle up. We're bringing the chest down. We're trying to get into a stretch here for the outside glute hip area. Cool? There's 2 main ways to stretch this. One is called the pigeon. Very easy to Google if you want some extra tips. But I'm going to give you a quick preview right here. We're going to bring that leg across the body. So same thing, that ankle is still coming across the body. This back leg, in a lot of yoga videos, they'll have perfectly straight behind you like this. If you can get into it, great. If you can't, it's totally fine to leave it slightly bent. The main purpose of our stretch is this outer hip glute area on the back side. So it's not super important if your leg can't handle it right now. What we're going to do is try to get the midpoint of our chest to sort of the midpoint between our knees and our ankle. And bring the chest down, keep the hips low, and that's it. That's the pigeon stretch. If you feel it back here, you're doing it right. Cool. We're going to spend 30 seconds in that stretch, and I want you to keep on trying to keep this ankle away from your body. It's going to naturally want to come in because it's going to want to get into a more comfortable, easy position for you. Tucked in is an easier position. Keep it away. Push. And that's it. We're going to move on. Okay. Next stretch option is called the figure 4. And it looks like this. We're taking the leg we want to stretch. We're crossing it over to the opposite knee. So the same figure 4 except upside down compared to a couple seconds ago. We're going to reach our hands through, wrap them around this knee. We're going to pull everything in towards our chests so that we feel this stretch in the outer hip. One version has gravity doing a lot of the work, and the other you have just a lot of control over, but you have to work a lot harder. Pick whichever one you'd like, get into position, and let's do our 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let that go. Give yourself a second if you need it. Switch over to the other side. And same thing, let's continue. I'm gonna keep going, figure 4. So, what leg did I just do? I did the left leg. So right leg crosses over to the left knee, reach our arms through, pull it in, get into the position that you need to for your stretch, and let's, oh man, I'm off balance. Let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28. Oh, this hip is way less flexible today. 26, 20. Oh no, I lost balance. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18. Remember to breathe, don't hold your breath. 16, 15, 14. If you're taking a nap right now, don't keep on pulling on that leg. This stretch is almost done. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, let that leg go. Roll over, lay for a second if you need to, and we're done with all the warm-up. Everything that we've done up to this point has been warming up, getting our heart rate up, getting our muscles ready to go do stuff, and then the stretches that we've been doing have been basically pre-stretching all the muscles we're going to stretch in the side split anyways, but giving them some focused attention so that when we do the side split, we'll already be ready with some of those muscles to get the most out of that stretch that we can. Christina, oh, it hurts to laugh doing this. Yeah, it does. You can't just have random vibrations in your in your chest when your leg is being pulled up to your chest. I agree. Christina asks, when I do this, hip flexors cramp up and I have to relax out. When I do this, hip flexors are cramping and I have to relax out. This might mean that your hip flexors are really tight and they need some relaxation, some more stretching, or the opposite, or I mean, maybe a combination of things, but maybe they're a little bit weak, and so you're doing something that is really stressing them out, and they're cramping really hard because they're working really hard to help you get into position. But I don't know which hip flexors you're referring to. There's technically a lot all over the place. So you're talking about the ones specifically in the front? Okay, figure 4 is my favorite, Sheena says. My good hurt. Yes, I love it. The good hurt. That is exactly what we should call it. The good hurt. I call it suffering, but then I say stuff like it's the worthwhile suffering. Okay. Christina says yes. Okay, I think that implies yes, the front of the leg is firing. Typically, in most other moments where this hip flexor would be firing, like for example, when you do the L sit, it's typically because these muscles are a little bit weak. But hold on, let me get back into the figure 4 and feel it out. Where are we at? Right here. Technically, you don't need to be using those muscles because your leg is pulling in. So why are they firing so hard? Hold on, I'm just stabbing my thumb into my leg real quick to see if I have anything going on right now in that joint. And I think that's just bone. Okay, my thumb is really tired. So my rudimentary analysis is it really shouldn't be firing. So that's a little bit concerning. And most of the work should be coming from you pulling your leg in. I wonder if you tried doing the opposite stretch, right? Like we did the figure four, and I assume we're talking about the figure four, but if you tried the pigeon instead to see if having gravity do all the work and having your best shot at absolutely relaxing as much as possible. In this case, you can bend your ankle in because this will be the most comfortable way to get into something that looks remotely close to the pigeon. And you can slowly push your ankle away and tweak and adjust to see if those hip flexors keep firing. I think if this is just a new position for you in general and you haven't done something like this before, that maybe your flip flexors, your hip flexors just need a little bit of time getting used to that. Alternatively, if you just finished like a marathon yesterday or something, then your hip flexors are just overstressed and they're responding to the stimulus in a way you don't want it to because they're just gone crazy from the other day. I think those are my two main reasons why your hip flexors would be firing. So let me know and let's continue with our side splits, right? Because we finished everything else. Side splits. Uh, First, let's talk about safety. We don't want you to fall. We don't want you to get hurt. A lot of flexibility training is basically convincing your brain, and not your conscious brain, your subconscious brain, the thing that like works so that you can breathe without thinking about it, that you're able to get into these positions, you're able to get out of them, and you won't get hurt. Your brain's whole job is to keep you safe. So one of the subtle, little, tiny, itty bitty ways that you can make yourself a little bit more comfortable, give yourself the best shot of relaxing, is to make the environment safe for you. That might mean you go grab a chair so that if you start leaning forward, you start falling, you get into something uncomfortable, you can use the chair to hold you up. I'm gonna give you that because I don't like the chair, but we're at different places, we're different people. So you can pick whatever tools you like to help make you more comfortable in the stretch. The other thing is when you're deep down into this stretch, yes, your hips are uncomfortable and stuff, but there's a real fear and real concern about falling. If you fall forward, it should be okay to catch yourself. Maybe you're not even falling that far, maybe it's just a couple inches, maybe a foot this way. But when you go backwards, reaching your arms around behind you to try to catch yourself, that's way scarier. So what I recommend is you do all these stretches about 8 to 12 inches away from the wall, which is basically one step in front of the wall. That way, if you start falling backwards, the wall will catch you. I used to do this in a place where the thing would shake a little bit and you would hear that I hit the wall, but this wall is very sturdy, does not do anything. And so it was a very quiet thud, but I'm leaning against the wall. Okay, get rid of things you don't need, keep things that you want, and let's get into the side splits. Once you are close to that wall, I want you to open up your legs as wide as you can until it's a little bit uncomfortable in the hips. From here, I want you to fold forward. Ooh, hips just cracked. Put your hands down like you're going to do a little bit of a push-up. We're not actually doing push-ups, but we are putting some weight into the hands so that it's easier to externally rotate the legs. We talked about this super early in the workout, but external rotation is just rotating your leg out from the center of your body. When your legs are split like this, you don't really know what that means. It doesn't make any sense. But your toes are pointing up, your heels are down, and your knees are pointing up. That is the position we want to get into. I can't tell if it's visible on the camera, so I'm just gonna extra highlight. Toes up, knees up, heels down. Cool? We're gonna do that on both sides. Putting weight into your hands makes it a little bit easier because there's less weight in your legs. And you might notice that your legs immediately stretch out way deeper and there's way less pain. If that's the case, then you have perfectly done what I needed you to do. Now walk your hands back towards your hips. You'll suddenly notice that there's a whole bunch more pressure in your hips, and that's the point. You're putting more pressure into your hips to see if you can get into a deeper stretch. There's the first one. So It's going to be a little bit tough. I promise it'll get a little easier as we continue. Do a little shake, a little wiggle from side to side. See if we can get deeper into the stretch. And once you are ready to go, just start counting, Ken. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. Don't hold your breath. Keep on breathing. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, I dropped an earbud, but I've caught it with my Spider-Man tingly skills. I just need a second to put it back into my ear. I need to get out of split. All right. Whew. That is the first of our side split stretches. Come back into standing, take it nice and slow, and let's shake out those legs. We want to be like noodles. We want to flop, we want to wiggle, we want to look very fresh out of the pot after 8 minutes of al dente boiling. Maybe I should just call it spaghetti. Spaghetti! All right. Shake, 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 shake. Focus primarily on your legs. My arms look way more floppy. That's why I do the thing with those. But your legs are the primary concern because they just went, "Arr!" And we're flexing so hard trying to keep you from collapsing into a side split. Those legs working so hard against you. Shake, 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 shake. We did a pretty long first round. I counted 30 seconds, but before we counted, most of you were probably already in a side split stretch anyway. Oh, okay. Once your legs starting to feel normal again, and take your time, make sure that they actually feel okay. We're gonna do our quick checks. We're gonna start with hip circles. I can't remember. Christina, I think, was talking about the hip flexors. If you do some hip circles and you start feeling that hip flexor firing really hard again, or they were firing, so they're still a little bit tight, then some hip circles will definitely help to stretch them out a little bit. And once you've checked those, let's do some high knees. Make sure those hip flexors are really working and contracting. And we're gonna do some mini squats. We don't have to go super deep. We're just making sure the knee joints, the ankle joints, and maybe coming up onto your toesies, so your toes, your feet are working pretty good. Then we'll be ready to go back into round 2. If you are having fun, if you're being entertained, if you're doing a whole bunch of stretching that you never normally would do, then I recommend you sign up to, and by sign up I mean follow, subscribe, get notified. We do this every single day to practice consistency, because at the end of the day, consistency is the most important quality. The problem with that is it's really hard to do hard things, and practicing consistency doing hard things is a real pain in the butt. So we try to make it fun. We try to bring good vibes. I try to bring non-expert, non-comedic jokes to you via the phone so that we can make this whole experience a little bit more fun, so that we can do some hard stuff together. Plus, with the community in the chat, people engaging with each other, it makes it a little bit more fun. So hit follow, hit subscribe, comment in the chat, get to know each other, and I hope to see you again soon. All right. Round 2, side splits. Let's do this. Once again, get close-ish to the wall. I recommend one step in front of the wall so that, and I'm going to screw over here so I don't smash my shoulder into the wall or into the doorknob. There's a doorknob right there. If you fall backwards, boom, your butt will hit the wall. You'll just be chilling. This isn't exactly where I normally would be in a side split. If I fell backwards, maybe it'd be a little bit lower, but boom. You get the point. All right. Now that we're here, open up those legs as wide as possible. Fold forward, put your hands down like you're going to do a push-up. Externally rotate the legs, which means your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. I think if I scoot over here, all the way over here, you can see that other foot right there. Boom. Once you're here, you might notice you're already deeper than last time. It feels less uncomfortable than getting into it the first time. Those are wonderful. That also means you probably relaxed really well in between the sections of the sessions of side splits. From here, see if you can just eke yourself into a slightly deeper position with some light wiggling. Walk those hands back and keep on trying to get a little bit more out of your side split. Once you are done with that, let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. Remember to breathe. If I'm not breathing loud enough, let me know. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. For the last couple seconds, I want you to try something. I want you to flex your glutes and imagine pushing your hips towards the ground. See if that helps you open up a little bit because you're focusing on contracting the opposite muscles. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, come on out of that stretch. Walk your hands forward if you want. Bring your legs slowly together. Kneel if you need to. And come back up into standing. Let's do our wiggling noodle pasta spaghettis. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Shake, 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 shake. Relax, 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 relax. If you think this looks ridiculous and you think it's not effective, I promise it is, because what we just did was force the muscles to contract really, really, really hard. They're going to be really, really, really tight. And if you can flop around like this, there's just no way those muscles are still tight, because if they were still tight, you would have these robotic arm movements, but for your legs. Once your legs are shaken out, you can add some dance moves to add just a little bit more functional stuff on top of the relaxation to test whether or not your legs are working. Okay, cool. Once you've done those, let's do the rest of our standard normal checks. Hip circles. Okay, hip circles. I've said this every single day, but if you're new, I feel a lot of tension right here on the outsides of these hips. And so at some point, I will stop doing the full hip circles and I'll just lean into the parts where I know I'm going to be tight and give those spots a little bit of love. I recommend that if there's anything that you need to spend a little bit more time on, don't skip ahead just to follow me. Do what you need to do to take care of your body. Okay, whew. Let's do those high knees and mini squats. Focusing on getting those knees working. Ooh, I got something going on in my left ankle, which tends to happen occasionally. So I'm going to spend a couple of extra seconds here and then retest. Boom. Okay, left ankle is working. Got to come up on my toesies. Toesies. All right. I am normal. I am functional. Let's continue. And by continue, I'm going to check the chat. Thank you, Sheena, for letting Jenny know that I do go live every night at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific. Sheena with the inspirational motivation. I love it. Tanner says, my feet keep slipping, almost forcing me into the splits. That is incredible. That's amazing. If you get into it, send us some celebration pics. Christina says, thank you. Sheena says, for you page in the chat, help everybody. I love it. Thank you for, I don't even know what that does, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Imagine slipping into a side split. Yeah, I know, right? I've been doing this for like a year, and I've made like really, really small bits of progress the last couple of months. And it would be incredible if I just slipped into a side split. What tips would you give for a beginner LSIT? We'll cover that at the end. Sheena should be a mod. Oh, that's not a terrible idea. Thank you, Canasti. Okay. Let's continue. Side splits. We just finished the second round. Let's get into the third round and wrap up for today's good suffering. Good suffering. Let's get close to that wall, one step in front of it, open up those legs. I hope you've had a good chunk of relaxation in between our 2 rounds, or I guess 2.5. Now this is the third round. Put those hands down, externally rotate the legs, walk your hands back, get deep into that stretch, wiggle from side to side, really try to open up your hips. This is the last round. Come on. And once you are as deep as you can get, let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Last 5 seconds. Flex those glutes. See if you can push your hips towards the floor. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Come on up out of that stretch. Oh, walk your hands forward. Pull the legs in. Come back into standing. And let's noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle. Pasta, 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 pasta. Spaghetti, 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 spaghetti. Do a little dance. Once you've done a couple of those, you can pick up the pace. Go ahead and do that. Flap, 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 flap. Mega noodles. And this is the last one. Go ahead and shake out your arms as well. They didn't suffer as much as your legs did, but they did work really hard to keep you supported, to hold your upper body up, to reduce some of the burden in your legs. Once you have done all of those, move around, play with those legs, get those little muscles in the hips engaged so that they don't stay asleep or unnecessarily tight. Oh, okay. Let's do our quick checks. Hip circles. Okay. Left, right, left, right, left, right. High knees. My knees are feeling good. My hip flexors are feeling good. Let's do some mini squats. Ankles are not being weird this round. That is good. Knees are fine. Come up onto your toes. Toes are good. Then we are done. Congratulations. Thank you for coming in for another round, for another day of side split stretching. It still looks like a pancake. Sheena, yes. It's probably because technically it's very, 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 very similar to a pancake. The pics will be coming from the orthopedic surgeon if this happens. Ooh, that. Nah, I think if you're accidentally almost slipping into the side splits, you're probably I don't know. That seems dramatic, but yes, keep it safe. Take care of yourself. Oh, if you are accidentally slipping and you are concerned about that, you can try one thing, which is to put one of your feet really snug against the wall. So in our example, I have been doing them this way, but you start doing this way, so that one foot it was against the wall the whole entire time. You only have one direction to slip. It's a little bit easier to control. Cool. But also, you can not wear socks. That also works. um, let's see. Sheena says, "Wow, Ken, you're very low tonight, almost to the floor. Let's talk about that real quick." Sheena's about to leave actually, so if you're gone, let me know about that. Or I guess don't let me know. Good husky. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate the community engagement, chilling in the chat, hanging out, talking, keeping the vibes cool and fun. I hope to see you soon. And good night, good night, good night. I have an LSAT question for Alec, and he has another question about too much running. So let's cover that real quick. Too much of anything can be bad for you, and it really depends on how your body is reacting to it, and if that is in alignment with your goals. Thank you, Lulu. Welcome back. You were one of the first comments today, so I don't know why I said welcome back right here at the end, but it's good to see you. Good night. Um, Too much running depends on whether or not the changes that you're feeling from the running is meaningful for your goals. If you don't have any goals, then I don't think it's too much unless you are severely injured and messed up in a whole bunch of ways. And that doesn't mean that you've necessarily had too much running. That might mean you haven't had enough other things to help fix some of the problems that too much running has helped to create, for example. Um, I would probably argue that if you do a lot of running, you probably have really tight front hip flexors over here. And I would suggest that following some of those runs, you do, the really hard thing after a run, which is go exercise some more and do things that make your really tired muscles scream in pain and stuff like this type of stuff, right? Having really good control over the muscles in your legs is very useful. And I think if you are a long distance runner, I mean, if you're competing in really big, grand things like marathons, then maybe, and that is your priority, then this might not be that beneficial for you. But I do recommend doing some sprints because that is a very good way to practice putting out a lot of explosive power and obviously be really warmed up because the more explosive, the more power you're putting out, the more intense it is for your body, for your connective tissue when you do that. But if you have a foundation in running, it's probably fine to do a couple of sprints here and there. No, I'm fine in pain. I want to run more. Your classes helped me reach my fastest 5K. Oh, that's incredible. You've been here for like 4 days. I don't know. I think you're giving me a little bit too much credit, but I will take it. I will accept it, and I'll take it as a testimonial. Just I'm gonna screenshot this right now. Okay. Um, Rest is definitely important when running. Yes, I think that most of the stuff that we do in general could be considered active rest, right? Like it's gonna be tiring. It's work. I'm sweating. You're probably sweating, and a lot of it is going to be super useful for keeping your body working well, right? Like we start with hip cars because we're trying to strengthen muscles, but we're trying to strengthen them really gently over time in a way that people can keep doing this over and over and over again without being like overwhelmed, without it taking over their lives, without it like making them super sore and painful and then going, I really can't do it today. The 3 rounds of side splits is going to be a little bit challenging if it's your first time ever because your muscles have never done that thing. So it might take a couple of days to adjust. But after that little adjustment period called delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, it tends to be relatively okay. And also, if you guys need to take a day off, don't be here because I'm here. Be here because you're ready to work on the thing. What I mean by that is make sure you're rested, make sure you're feeling good. I mean, don't always make sure you're feeling good. Like don't just not come because you're like, I don't feel like it today. If your hip is a little bit achy and you've been doing the live for 54 days in a row, maybe that's your cue to take a little bit of a break. Take a day off. Take 2 days off. Take a day off and then come back the next day to see if your symptoms changed a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the next day, they got worse again because you came back and you did another round without taking enough rest, right? So experiment, figure out what's good for your body. Okay, that's my take on running. I'm pretty sure if you like running, keep running. There's compromises with the rest of your health that you make when you do only one sport, doing very specific exercises, and that's just the nature of the beast, right? Like if you run a lot and it's long distance, marathon runners tend to have a very specific build if they only run. If you train a lot and also run, then it's just part of a more complete, I don't know, athletic package. Uh, but it's not that important. Most people can go through life with almost no training. So everything's just bonus and for fun, and hopefully it aligns with your goals. Cool. All right, we had questions about the L sit, also from Alec. Let's see. The question was, do you have tips for beginner L sits? The main thing, I think, for L sits is to get really high off the ground. There's two main pieces, right? Like the cool piece is my legs are straight in front of me and I'm holding them up. The second piece is keeping your shoulders down and keeping them strong, keeping them forward enough that you can hold the L sit. I would argue my L sit isn't very good. I have enough brute strength to pull off a couple of seconds, and I have enough finger strength to get me off the floor so that looks impressive. But if I were to try to do that same thing without my fingers, like if I were to compress the core and then hold my legs out in front, I need to scoot really far back so you can actually see what my legs are doing because it looks like my legs are on the ground because my knees are back. If I had to rely on just the length between my shoulder and my wrist to do the L sit, and I had to keep my legs up, I can barely do it. My hip flexors are firing really hard right now, and I am absolutely exhausted. So that is not to say I can't give you some advice. That is to say that I might have done something really cool looking in the past, and there are little tricks to making it look cool. One of the things that I recommend you work on from the beginning, and I need 2 chairs for this. Are they visible? They are visible. Cool. I don't know if I want this cushion here. Will it get in the way? No, that'll be fine. Okay. So, first thing is I want your shoulders to work. If you end up in this kind of position, then you need to push down and bring your shoulders down and keep them tight. In some schools of strength training, they call it packing your shoulder. In calisthenics, most of the time, they call it depressing your shoulder so that your shoulder blade, instead of, I don't know if you can see, I'm wearing a black shirt too, your shoulder blade floats around freely in the back of these, in your back. There's like 17 or 18 muscles that attach to it. So you can get your shoulders to go a whole bunch of places, the shoulder blade specifically. And so this is bring your shoulder blades together so that they're almost touching. This is the opposite. They call it protraction, so that the shoulder blades are coming out as far to the front side as possible. This is shrugged. Basically, your shoulder blades are as high as possible. And then what we care about is depressing the shoulder blades. So we're bringing them as low as possible and trying to stay strong holding it there because there's 17 muscles involved in the movement of that shoulder blade. Getting really strong in that position takes a bunch of training. If you do a lot of pull-ups, for example, as you get better, one of the very first recommendations that somebody will give you is to depress the shoulders and keep them locked and down. That really increases your stability for the pull-up, but it also really increases your stability for the L-sit. It also helps to make it so you don't look like this. Cool. So once you have practiced that, you can do this on a dip bar, come up to the top here. You can do it on a pull-up bar, really contract the shoulders. Then you are in a pretty good spot. If you do have access to the pull-up bar really easily, then you can do a version of the L-sit, the ab contraction part of the L-sit, from the pull-up bar. If you need to Google something for more research, it might be called the hang leg raise. And if my arms were hanging on a pull-up bar like so, it would be while hanging, lifting the leg. I guess I can technically lift up both legs. But the body position would look closer to this. The pull-up bar is right above your head, and you're lifting your legs up from the floor. Try to hold that with a lot of control so that you can actually develop the skill of contracting. I slammed into the door handle with my back again. So you can control the muscles needed to keep your leg up. If you have tight hamstrings, it's going to be really difficult. You're going to be actively fighting against those hamstrings. So I recommend you doing a lot of warm-up. Do a lot of elephant walks. Get those hamstrings loosened up before you start, because they are the bane of my existence, and they make everything worse. But that's why I'm working on them so much. And let's see. What's going to happen immediately is, this chair's a little bit unhappy with me. Let's rotate this around. So we talked about the shoulder. We talked about shoulder depressing. We've talked about using the pull-up to practice depressing of the shoulder and using the pull-up as a foundation for lifting your legs up for the L-sit. Let's talk about easier versions of the L-sit. If you elevate your hands, so basically in this case, get 2 chairs. They don't have to be nice or fancy. As long as they're stable, you're good. You can work on this position, which is your knees pulled up, and build to the fully extended leg position slowly. What else? You can, the L-sit is basically a hold, right? So you can focus on trying to keep those hands out in front of you and depressing your shoulders and lifting your knees as high as you can. So you're doing the combination of all of the movements. You're pushing yourself down, you're contracting your core, and you're building up from there. Eventually, you want to slowly increase the distance your legs are away from you. You might be able to see that I'm already starting to drop down. I'm already tired holding this L sit. And that's okay. That's what the chairs are for. The chairs are there so that you can actually train and practice the movement in its almost there form. Cool? I think that's all I got. I'm going to check to see if you get any more specific questions while I was talking. So we can see what else I need to address. I'm making bro work. I'm sorry. Don't worry. I have some other stuff happening too. So this is just keeping me warm until the next thing. Okay. All right. I think that is it for the comments. I hope that was helpful, Alec. And I hope you have a whole bunch of stuff to work on. I do pull-ups with a bag of rice in my backpack. That is awesome. That is like a really big bag of rice. Like, what do those things weigh? Like 10, 15, 20 pounds? 20 pounds? 25 pounds? What do they sell at Costco? Actually, no, in a backpack. Those ginormous bags are probably don't fit in a backpack. Anyways, weighted pull-ups are very good. 50 pounds? How big is your backpack? That's a big bag of rice. I think that's, yeah, 25 kilos, 50 pounds. That's a lot of rice. Dude, you're so strong. Okay, the L-sit if you're doing pull-ups like that, your shoulders are going to be totally fine. So you only need to focus probably on the compression part. That compression part, one last detail for the compression part is technically the form that you want with your leg fully extended is going to have you putting your hands further forward than you would need to be if you were having your knees extended, right? Because at some point we're still trying to balance the situation. And when your legs are fully extended, your center of balance is just further away. And basically, you put your hands where that center of balance is going to be in order to help control the thing. If you put your hands where your center of balance is not, you got to be like twice as strong to hold the position. And that is just making it really difficult and take a really long time for you to get into the position, right? So if we were starting as a beginner and we put our hands directly under our butt and fully extended like this, our legs are going to be way far out there. And there's just no shot we can lift our hands or lift our legs, right? But if we put our hands closer to where our feet are or where the center of balance is and focused on lifting from there, then it becomes a lot easier to lift your legs up. I feel I have, like, I'm going to fully depress my shoulders, right? I feel like I have pretty short arms compared to the length of my upper body. So I think I'm giving myself the excuse that because I have relatively short arms to my torso length, I have to bend a little bit further forward, or I have to be really strong in the compression in order to get into an L sit. If, just genetically, anatomically, you have really long arms, like you're a really good rock climber because of these ratios, then it might be a little bit easier to get into the L sit, right? And this isn't to say that, oh, some people are just genetically better to get into the L sit. Technically, that might be a little bit true because of leverage, but it just means that everybody's training for a slightly different thing. For me, the most important thing is not necessarily the strength in my arms and shoulders. The most important thing is compressing, relaxing the hamstrings so I can get into a deeper, this type of position, so I can hold my weight in front of me. Cool? Cool, 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 cool. Okay. Oh, 50 pounds. That's wild. And also, congratulations. I imagine that took a lot of work to get to 50-pound pull-ups. That's a fantastic job. Kudos to you. Okay, we have been running for 82 minutes. I hope I've answered all the questions that there is left on the live. I'm ready to wrap up. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you learned something. I hope you got some value. And I hope you did some hard stuff. Oh, on YouTube, Uday Sharma says hello. Hello, Uday. Okay, that's it for today. Hit follow, hit subscribe, get notified. We do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a bit of community, to make this whole thing a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyable, so you can suffer on the floor behind me with some emotional amusement and make that suffering a little less bad. And hopefully we can all get deeper into the side splits together. All right, that's it for me today. I hope to see you tomorrow. Shutting it off right now. Ba-boom.